Hello, I'm Ray. Welcome to another midweek message. Sunshine today. Quick weather report. Sun shining. Oh, who was it that said my laugh is like Sid James? Do you remember that in the Carry On films? Anyway, Bruce. Bruce. Hello, Bruce. Small town parades, as in shops. Yep, I remember those. I've made a note of that, Bruce. So that's good. A lot of you liked last Sunday's story, Natalie, the French girl. Ian, nice to hear from you, and Bob. Who else was it? I've got a list. Oh, here we are. Lucy, John, Hannah, Amelia, Dave, Derek. There were so many that emailed saying they liked the story that I thought, okay, this Sunday we'll have another one. So I shall start work on that soon. Ian, nice to hear from you. Ian was inspired by the story. He also, quite a lengthy email, so I've just made notes. Ian said that with the refugees coming over, this reminded him of something that happened to him in the 60s. Well, not reminded him of it, but it inspired him to tell us about it, which is nice. He was walking home from a nightclub late at night, as we all did in the 60s and 70s, and he heard someone coughing, and he looked across the road. There was a girl in a bus shelter, and he went over and he said, "You won't get a bus at this time of night." And she said, "Oh, I'm not waiting for a bus, I'm sleeping here." And he said to her along the lines of, "Well, it's freezing, it's winter, what are you doing sitting in a bus shelter?" And she said, "I've got nowhere to go." She was homeless. And he got a bit closer to her. She was still coughing, and he said she obviously wasn't well. And he said, "I recognise you." And he mentioned her name. He hasn't told me. And she said, "Yeah, that's me. How do you know me?" He said, "We're in the same class together at school. Don't you remember?" And she had a closer look at him. "Oh, Ian, yes, I remember." He took her back to his house. He had a spare room. He cooked her a meal while she was upstairs cleaning herself up. And she moved into his spare room. She got herself a job, started bringing some money in she could pay towards her keep. And he said, "Here we are, 50 years on. We've been married nearly 50 years. 3 children, grandchildren. Isn't that amazing? What a story. Ifs and buts all the time." He said he never walked home that way, and he doesn't know why he did. He always had his regular route. For some reason, he walked home a different way. Had he not done that, he wouldn't have bumped into her. A friend, as he was leaving the nightclub, said, "Do you want a lift?" And he said, "Oh no, I'd rather walk." Had he had a lift, he wouldn't have met her. All these ifs and buts. Oh, also he said, had she not been coughing, he wouldn't have looked over to the bus shelter and noticed her. So quite incredible how people meet. Do let me know how you've met perhaps your husband, your wife, your partner in the old days. How did you meet people? What was it like? Were there any really strange circumstances? It would be great to hear from you. As always, it's Ray's Rants at protonmail.com. Now, who was it? It was Ray. He said I look like Harry Worth. Did I mention that before? Hello, Ray. Nice to hear from you. I look like Harry Worth. I found some photos of Harry Worth on my iPad, and I said to Trish, my wife, I said, "Do I look like him?" And she said, "Actually, there is a there is a resemblance." He was the chap that stood by the shop door, the glass, and lifted one arm and one leg, so it looked like he was lifting both arms and both legs. You know what I mean? Harry Worth. He had his own show, didn't he? His own comedy thing on telly. I think that was the 50s, early 60s, 50s. That's going back when they had proper television, not full of adverts. Oh, I timed the adverts. I forgot to tell you, I was watching a programme the other night. I timed the adverts. I've got a stopwatch thing on my phone. 5 minutes, adverts and trailers, 5 minutes, each advert break. And 5 minutes, you might think that's not long. It is if you time it. When you're watching a programme or trying to watch a programme, it's awful. Fed up with adverts. Anyway, that's enough ranting and raving from me. I'm now off to, what am I doing? It's Tuesday. This is getting ready for tomorrow. I believe it's going to be rain tomorrow. I shall report on that on the next episode for those of you that are into the weather. Hope you're all okay. Take care, look after yourselves, and I will see you on Sunday with another episode and another story. So glad that you like the stories. But I'm not going to obviously take up every Sunday episode with a story. There'll just be perhaps a quick story here and there. Okay, that's it. See you next Sunday. Bye-bye for now.